Wow, guys, we are finally here at the mod showcase video for the Woohoo Island mod. Okay, this is a very special mod to me at this point because I've spent so much time with her. I've thought about it all day, every day for the past month. I've been walking around the house with a notebook writing down ideas. I've been watching Love Island with this notebook, writing down ideas for interactions, gameplay features, so much. And that has meant that this mod has gotten pretty big. Okay, I've done the math. I ran the calculations, okay, and just to give you a list of the numbers of some of the features in this, that kind of you saw in the trailer or got a peek at in the trailer, is there are 149 interactions, 102 buffs, 30 sentiments, there's social events, holiday traditions, milestones, and more. And for better or worse, that somehow ended up the numbers. So that gives you a glimpse into how hard I've been working on this mod. But now we're finally here to reap the benefits in this mod showcase video where I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to use all of these features in your game, because I already know you're not going to read the download overview post. So if you watch this video in its entirety, ideally you would not need to read the overview post because you'll know how to go ahead and do everything. Also, if you've been watching new, go ahead and playtest this mod, or if you were a playtester yourself, there are still going to be a lot of things in here that you haven't seen, as they didn't exist when those versions came out or when I shared them, and I didn't include them in the playtester guide for that reason, again because they did not exist yet. So go ahead and watch the video so again you know how to use everything. Now we're just going to jump right in with the gameplay features, but at the very end, I'm going to jump more into the technicalities, the things that you need to know about the mod before going ahead and using it in your game, and my plans for how I want to roll this out. Again, this is a very different mod for what I usually do, so I think it should roll out differently. So I'm going to talk about my plans for how I want to do stuff then, but I realize I have not gone ahead and told you guys when this mod will be dropping. Okay, so Love Island season finale is July 12th, and this mod will be dropping July 13th, okay, 9 p.m. EST, to go ahead and fill the hole in our hearts with Love Island mod. So feel free to go ahead and pick it up again on July 13th. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Hey guys, so we are here currently in the same lot that I used in the last video, just now in Sulani. I have a fresh set of 8 sims on the lot just to show you guys what you would need to do in order to set up your villa day 1. Now, as I previously mentioned, the goal of this video is going to be like the video format of the mod overview page. So I'm going to try my best to just stick to the ain't no way you thought this was appropriate. As I was saying, I'm going to try my best to stick to the how of all these mod features so you know what you're doing when you get your hands on them. But this is not my first time attempting to record this video. The mod is just too fun, and every time I go to edit it, I realize I just started playing the game. I'm not even gonna lie, like that's just the honest to God truth. But we're gonna try our best to stay focused. So when you start off and you have your islanders on the lot, there are 3 things that you need to do before we get started, and that is going to be to enable the lot trait, to place down your controllers, and to assign everyone their traits. So the lot challenge is the name of the mod, Woohoo Island, so I'm going to enable that and then we're done there. But the next thing we need to do is place our Woohoo Island settings controller, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that up in game now. So here we will see our 2 options for the Woohoo Island settings controller. You can decide to have both in your menu, you can decide to have one or the other. They do the same exact thing, so it's going to be up to you which one you decide to use moving forward, but you do have to have one of them in your game. And I suggest having multiple around the lot in an easy to access space, just so you don't have to go looking for it every time you need it. But now that we've done those 2 things, the last thing we need to do as part of our setup is give our islanders their traits. So as we know, there are 3 types of islanders on Love Island, and that is going to be your Bombshell, your Islander, and your Casa Amor Islander. But now, since this is day 1, everyone is going to be the regular Islander. If I make my way to the controller and click on Islander types, I'll see all 3 of the aforementioned traits. So once I press this button, I'll see it pop up in my traits panel like so, and I'm going to show you guys that again. If I had one and pressed Bombshell, it's going to do the same exact thing. Now, if you're pressing on the interaction, you're selecting one of the Islander types and nothing is popping up in your traits menu, that's going to mean that you don't have your fears and wants enabled in the game. So what you're going to do is make your way to the settings menu, click on game options, and then from there make your way to the gameplay tab. Here you'll see an option to enable your show wants and fears here, and then once you do that and apply changes, now when you form the interaction, you should now see the trait pop up for you. With those steps, you'll also start to see some new gameplay features become available to you already. So you'll see interactions like ask about recoupling, talk about bombshells, breakfast, the strongest and weakest couples, and then of course pull for a chat. And then under the main interactions, we'll say things like calling out red flags, accused of leading others on, accused of having backup options. And these are going to be interactions that Islanders can perform with anyone else on the island at any time. But now that we've gone over everything you need to do when starting out your island, the next mod feature I want to talk about is challenges. So in this save that I'm currently in, it's one I've been playing in for the last couple of days. So the Sims have started to form relationships with one another. They're currently already in their respective couples and coupling types. So challenges are quite the interesting feature for me with this mod because I actually think that they work best when they're not the only way that you approach challenges in your island. Like you'll see here, I have these twister mats out and they're actually from Utopia because while I was playing, I had my Sims perform a challenge just this way, having them go ahead and partner with random people in the villa and get the chance to experience this together. But I think it's going to be a good way for you to push your Sims in new directions, also play with autonomy, and replicate the kind of randomness that can happen as a result of challenges that we see on the show. Click on my settings controller here. I'll have this pie menu that says challenges. Now, if I choose about challenges, it's going to bring up a pop-up that's going to tell me about challenges, but we don't need that because I'm here. The source is here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select go to challenge. And when I do that, it's going to show me everyone that's currently in the household. So one thing about this is that this mod supports up to 20 Sims at a time. So you can have up to 20 Sims go into the rabbit hole at once all together. But here you're going to see that it says it is time for Islanders to now head off for a challenge. Select all the Islanders who will be participating. So I want the whole island to go off on this challenge, and I'm going to select OK. And when I do that, my Sims are now going to start breaking off and entering into the rabbit holes. I want to say this rabbit hole lasts about 90 minutes, but as your Sims start to come back, you'll see that a select amount of the Sims from your household will get this pop up here. And it's going to be our opportunity to decide challenge updates. So it says here that now for challenge updates, where we find out what exactly happened while the Islanders were away. During the challenge, this Sim, who's Leilani, interacted with who. So here we're going to see our option to choose from any of the Sims in the household. And when I select these Sims, one of 4 things can happen. It can either be a positive friendship outcome, a negative friendship outcome, a positive romance outcome, and a negative romance outcome. And it's going to pay respects to each of the Sims' gender preferences when I select them from the household as well. So although this mod is base game compatible, you only need base game in order for this to function. It does provide support and take into account features that are added through other DLC. So things like compatibility and attraction will play a part in how the Sims respond to each other while out on challenges. But they are not the end all be all. Interact with Clayton and we're gonna see what happens there. And then for our last example, I'll have my Sim Mariah interact with no, I'm gonna have her interact with one of the girls. So I'm gonna have her try to talk to Raylan during the challenge. Okay, so now all of my Sims are currently back from the rabbit hole, and we can get a look at just what the impact was of this challenge that they all went out on. So during the challenge, Leilani and Clinton partnered up and they made for a dream team. So we'll see an increase in their friendship with one another. And then we'll also see that they got a new sentiment as well. So it says they got the dream team sentiment with each other. Next, we're gonna see Mariah decided to throw shade at Raylan several times throughout today's challenge. So on the other hand, their friendship did go down. It did decrease, and they also got the snake in the grass sentiment with each other. But that is not the only emotional impact that challenges can serve to have on Islanders, as the Islanders who didn't get a pop-up for us to decide who they interacted with the challenge are still emotionally impacted by the challenge itself. So we have my sim Vincent here, who actually finished the challenge feeling quite embarrassed because whatever happened in it, and you'll see he'll get a buff that says so. So he's actually started to feel better by being surrounded by his people, but if I go down here, it says that he has this still cringing buff from the Woo Island challenge. So the embarrassed buff is one of quite a few buffs that your sims can feel upon returning from the challenge, and this was really just my way to bring in the I don't know, the randomness that can kind of result from a Love Island challenge. And it is a really cute feature that I'm glad I went ahead and added to the mod. But with that being done, the next thing I want to show you guys is not quite a full feature, but a helpful cheat that I'm really proud of adding to this mod. So we have the good old problem of it being late and wanting our sims to go to bed, but they have quite a bit of energy, and we have good enough beds to where they're not going to sleep through the night. They're just going to keep waking up. And while we can use UI cheats to keep lowering it down for everyone, it is super tedious. Like when I've been hating it while I'm doing that. So you'll see here when I make my way to the cheats menu, I'll have this pie menu option here to alter energy. And here I'll have two things to choose from. So I can either decide to deplete the household energy or to raise all motives but energy. So as the name suggests, when I decide to click deplete household energy, it's going to lower the energy for everyone in the household. As we can see here, everyone's went down, and several people got the fear of swimming because I tanked their energy while they were in the pool. My bad, y'all. But actually, I believe this is going to help with them constantly autonomously swimming. So, blessing in disguise, really. But as you'll see here, it went ahead and left all of the other motives alone and only brought down the energy. If I selected cheats and then raise all motives but energy, it's gonna tank my energy, but it would hype up, but it would improve the needs of everything else. And then now you can see they're autonomously starting to take their booties to bed like I wanted them to, with the exception of her. She wants to die, I guess. You know, I feel like Love Island could do that to you. But with that covered and my sims now heading off to bed, I'm going to check in with you guys in the morning in game so we can move on to our She Gonna Die. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, girl. Let's not, don't even. I was kidding. Anyway, as I was trying to say, in the morning we will be covering Bombshells. So, 2 seconds, we'll be there. So my sims slept through the duration of the night and woke up at a decent time to have us be able to make our interactive placemat debut in the villa. But that is not the center of the attention because it is in fact our two new bombshells who have just entered. So here we have our two new bombshells, Dawn and Tobias, and I have already added both of them into the villa and given them their bombshell islander traits as well. But now that I've done those two things, I want to talk about some of the features that come with bombshells in general. As we know, when bombshells enter the villa, they bring a certain type of energy, and I wanted to try to replicate that in our Sims games as well. So first off, we have our bombshell ally buff that bombshells get when they are near each other. So it says coming into the villa as a bombshell is an intimidating task, and while Dawn is confident, it is a bit lonely. Luckily, Dawn didn't come into this alone, just the presence of another bombshell can serve to ease the nerves. Okay, so we have moved to our fire pit because Dawn went ahead and pulled these two islanders she was attracted to for a chat, or I should say she went ahead and stole them for a chat, or I should say she attempted to steal them both for a chat. Because when we performed the special bombshell interaction to have her pull them for a chat, Tyler said, sure, I could do with a change of scenery, And Vincent said, I'm kind of busy doing something right now. If anything, you're being kind of rude trying to pull me. So Vincent can go ahead and just skedaddle his little booty to the side. But anyway, now that we're here with these two, we can jump into our bombshell special interaction. Who? Raylan and Clayton. Oh, oh, what y'all doing up over here? Anyway, we can now show off some of our bombshell special interactions. So if I go ahead and make my way to the Woohoo Island pie menu, I'll now see this new option of pie menu that says bombshells. And when I click on that, I'm going to get a few options that only bombshells can perform with islanders. So the islanders can't perform these interactions with the bombshells, and the bombshells cannot perform these interactions with each other. So again, with these interactions, I was going for things that the bombshells would probably say or do when they enter the villa. While looking at these interactions, you'll see that some of them have a special icon next to them. And those icons are basically to indicate to you that when you perform them, you'll get special notifications and buffs that are going to reflect the outcome or the successfulness of the interaction. So I'm gonna have Dawn go ahead and perform the test the waters interaction, and we'll see what happens.
Sturm Jasa, Zwick. Oh, Sula.
So we can see that actually went really well for Dawn, and she got a positive notification as we can see up here. But of course, the appearance of a bombshell is not going to be good news for everybody. But damn, this buff is crazy. But as I was saying, the appearance of a bombshell is not going to be good news for everybody in the villa, as it will come with some competition for those who are already here. So you'll see here that when your islanders who are already here are near an incoming bombshell, they'll get this buff here, and it says guards up. Clayton would never say he is intimidated by a bombshell per se, just that he'll be watching to see which islander they pull for a chat. Since Tobias isn't particularly attracted to any of the girls at this moment, I had him pull all of them for a chat. And while we're here, we can get another look at the impact of the bombshell on the current islanders. I don't know what that was between those two. But you'll see that all of the girls are going to get the bomb shelter not needed energized buff around Tobias, our male bombshell. This is going to say bomb shelter not needed because he's a bombshell. I feel like I've made the joke before, but she still stands. And it says, whether satisfied in Mariah's current couple or not, the sight of a bombshell will always stir up some excitement. The real question is whether Mariah should decide to act on it. Getting to know them can't hurt, right? With our bombshells, there are also several interactions that can only be performed autonomously by the bombshells themselves, so we can't control when or how they decide to use it. In past videos, I refer to these as the interactive interactions, where they'll do a pop-up on the screen, and you can decide whether your sim is going to accept, reject the advances, or leave it to fate to decide. So that is going to be a cool thing for you guys to play with and maybe get in your own gameplay when you bring a bombshell into the villa. So I'm just gonna go on and leave everyone in the room to talk and mingle with the new bombshell in the villa, because now it's time to discuss the next feature of the mod, which is public voting. So I have plans for a recoupling ceremony in the coming days, and before then we need to see what the public has been thinking of our islanders. So I'm gonna have each of the islanders look on their phones to find out, because they got a text. So while your sims are in the villa, they'll have a special app that they will have access to, and that is the Woohoo Island app. So you'll see when I click on it, I'll have several fun options here, but we're gonna stay focused and hover on the read public's vote option. So this one is gonna say this interaction will let the islanders know whether they were saved or made vulnerable by the public. And when sims perform this interaction, you'll see that they're going to go ahead and pop it up. You know, they're going to enter in their password, they're going to look for the messages app, they're going to refresh and get a text message here. So their phone is going to ring, and when you click on it, you'll know what the public voted for. So this sim Vincent was made safe by the public, as you'll see right up here. It says public's vote safe. The public has voted and deemed Vincent worthy of continuing his time in the villa. Enjoy it while it lasts. So, and since he was voted safe, he got this buff here that says thank you Sim Nation from being saved by the public. I don't know what happened to this man's facial hair, but it probably made him fall out of the public's good graces, because when he performed the interaction, he went ahead and got this vulnerable outcome. And it says the votes are in and they have not fallen in this Sim's favor. Major is now officially vulnerable, and as everyone knows, that is never a good place to be on Woohoo Island. And then for the next 24 hours, he'll instead get this sad buff down here that says, "What did I do?" from being made vulnerable by the public. Major genuinely could not understand what exactly he did so wrong to warrant such negative attention from the public. What is happening in the... Oh, we got beef with Raylan. Oh, you know, because they argued during the challenge. So what I'm going to do right now is have all of our islanders minus the bombshells check their public vote and see how many are vulnerable and safe. And then I'm gonna have that have an impact on my recoupling ceremony. The impact, or the big or as little as a role this plays in your game, is going to be completely up to you and your storytelling for how you would like to use this feature. So Clayton, Leilani, Marielle, and Major were all made vulnerable by the public's vote. And ironically enough, Marielle and Major are actually in a couple with one another. So the next mod feature to go over is a big one, and that one is actually the recoupling system, which is enabled through the calendar. As a reminder, you will have to do this the day before, as you cannot schedule holidays on the same day that you're actively playing. So if I go here to add a holiday and scroll down, I'll eventually run into here, the recoupling ceremony holiday tradition. And now my holiday is successfully added to be for tomorrow on Friday, which is actually kind of perfect. So since we have quite some time before the recoupling ceremony tomorrow, I figured now would be a good time to briefly go over couples and how coupling types work within the mod. So as a viewer of Love Island for the past few years, I found that couples tend to enter into the same handful of dynamics with each other and then almost fluctuate between those dynamics depending on what happens in the island, new bombshells, Casa, Amor, and just how they overall interact with one another. And I've gone ahead and surmised these dynamics into 4 different coupling types. So that's going to be platonic, romantic, exploring, and reluctant. And you'll see this whole dynamic and system reflected in the mod as well. Now, as I previously said, these dynamics are going to have an impact on the interactions they perform with one another and the interactions they have available for one another, the sentiment, how they feel about coupling and recoupling and separating from one another, and how they respond to each other, leaving and coming back from Casa Amor. So I've gone ahead and pulled these 2 sims up here. We can see if we go ahead and make our way to their relationship profile with one another. Under relationships, we'll see their couple type here, along with a description of what this couple type means for them. But if I have them click on each other under the pie menu, we'll now see new interactions that appear when they talk to each other. These are identifiable by these little key icons that you now see next to select interactions, and they have new custom friendly and mean interactions that they can perform with one another that fit their specific coupling type. So no 2 coupling types are going to have the same exact interactions they can perform with one another. But as we know in the public vote, Raylan was actually made safe. So maybe some of that worry and anxiety he's feeling is going to turn into some mean interactions. So I'm going to have him argue about strategy with Raylan. I'm gonna have him accuse her of not trying somewhere while they've been going back and forth. Raylan went ahead and got one of these sentiments that can only happen between platonic couples, and that is the growing apart sentiment, a custom sentiment added with the mod. Raylan doesn't know when it started, but it has become clear that the friendship that once held this couple together is beginning to fade, and Raylan can't help but to feel responsible. So you'll see here that this is only a small window into what could negatively happen within the platonic coupling types but every single coupling type in the mod is as fleshed out as this one. So our Sims will not be able to autonomously recouple with different Sims between recoupling days, but your Sims will be able to change their coupling types with one another between recoupling days. As you'll see if I go here, I'll now have these different interactions open to me to change their coupling type with one another, and then they can also decide to autonomously change their coupling type as well. So these Sims relationships are looking pretty good with one another, so I wouldn't be surprised if at some point they ask to autonomously switch to a romantic coupling type instead of a platonic coupling type. So I think at this point I've pretty much gone over everything I would like to go over about coupling types at this point. We are officially here and it is the start of the recoupling ceremony, and we have two goals to go ahead and show off here. And first is the actual recoupling, and the second thing is going to be showing the different way that Sims can feel leaving and joining in new couples. So with my new Bombshells in the villa, I would like to have them have their first pick on who they would like to couple up with, and I'm gonna have my first Sim Dawn couple up with Tyler. So when I have them click and make their way to the Woohoo Island pie menu, we'll now see these different options open up, and these options to go ahead and leave his current couple and join a new one would not be available unless it was the recoupling ceremony. There is technically one exception to that, and that is again in the cheats menu. If you go to alter couples, here you can disable enable coupling and also kick people from their current coupling types. But I'm gonna have these two Sims go ahead and make an exploring couple type with one another. And when you perform this interaction, as you are going to see, it is going to automatically kick Tyler from his previous couple. So here we get a notification that says he is now in an exploring couple with Dawn, and that him and Leilani are not currently in an exploring couple any longer. The one cool thing about recoupling is that it is actually tracked in your Sims milestones for you to be able to reflect on at any time. So you'll see here under the social menu, we'll now see that our Sim Dawn has entered into a couple with Tyler, and under Tyler's you'll see he has two, and he'll have one here for Leilani and then his one here for Dawn as well. So at any point you could look back at their journey and who they've coupled up with thus far. And then while we're here, we can also see how the coupling types impact our islanders yet again. So your Sims can feel different things when they are leaving a coupling type depending on the relationship with the previous islander and their dynamics that they currently have going on, and just their emotions in general. So you'll see here that when he left the exploring couple with Leilani, he got this buff that says, well, what now, from recoupling. Part of Tyler is happy to no longer be in limbo with his previous couple, and another part is a bit upset at the realization they couldn't figure out where their connection was going, good or bad. Altogether, the emotions are kind of canceling everything, and Leilani got an emotional reaction from no longer being in a relationship with Tyler as well. So as you can see here, she actually felt the same exact thing as him, but overall they're both feeling pretty fine. These two Sims happen to have this same emotional reaction to breaking up, but they can have different reactions and feelings to no longer being in a couple with one another. That could then feed into your further storytelling and how you move forward in the villa as well. One last thing I would like to point out while we are here is that when your Bombshells recouple with an islander, they are now technically, by the game standards, no longer a bombshell, but they are now currently an islander. So they'll lose all of their special interactions they had via the bombshell pie menu, but instead gain all of the features that came with them being just an islander instead. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys an example of two people not feeling the same way at leaving their couple. He was previously in an exploring coupling type with Major, I believe. So when they separated, she got this dazed buff that says second guessing everything. Major got this embarrassed buff instead that says Major is feeling a bit embarrassed thinking of the part he played in the separation of this connection before it could go anywhere. Could he have done more? So he's feeling... Hello? The way everyone is getting absolutely jacked in the villa from working out every day, all day, is sending me. But our two Sims that we have left uncoupled in the villa are Leilani and Major, and they're actually the two Sims who were made vulnerable by today's public vote as well. So now is going to be a good time for us to show off the dumping system in the game. To remove islanders from the island, we need to reference our good old controller again right here. And when we click on it, we'll have the option to dump islander. And then now we can select our two islanders who are currently being kicked from the villa. And when we do that, you'll see that they have already been removed from the household automatically, and that all of our Sims will have some reactions to them being kicked out depending on their relationship with both of the Sims. So we have Dawn here. She didn't like them, but she also didn't know them that well, and she didn't dislike them enough to really care. So she got the who was that buff, and she's feeling pretty fine. And then we'll also see here that Raylan and Leilani absolutely despised each other. So she got the happy buff from Leilani leaving, and then she got the fine buff from Major leaving because she didn't really care about Major. With that being said, the recoupling ceremony has come to a close, but we're not done yet because now is officially time to move on to Casa Amor. So you think you're ready to head off to Casa Amor? Well, the answer is you're probably not, because you haven't done one key decent human being thing, and that is have your couples say goodbye to each other. They are not going to dip like a thief in the night like they do in the show. They're actually going to say goodbye to each other, and this is a very, very pivotal step and part of the process. So we saw this interaction earlier on in the video, but on our Islander's phone, if we make our way to the Woohoo Island app, we'll see the option to start Casa Amor, and now it is finally time to click that button. So I'm gonna have her do that, and once it's done, her phone will start ringing because she just got a text. And when I click on it, excuse me, pardon me, your Sims will get this buff here that says hello Casa Amor. So this notification is going to let you know that before you head off to Casa Amor, you need to let your islanders say goodbye to each other within each of their couples. So after getting the text that Casa Amor is about to start, you'll find a new interaction that is available within all of your couples now in the villa. So if we make our way to Woohoo Island, you'll see it right here. It looks like this and says prepare for Casa Amor. Again, this is a very, very important step to do before your Sims leave the villa. Each of these interactions and how they react to performing them is going to look a little different again depending on their coupling types. So these two Sims are currently within an exploring coupling type, so it's a bit awkward to say goodbye for Casa Amor, but they're both going to feel confident going into Casa. So I'm going to perform this interaction between all of my couples here in the villa. What an unfortunate time to get a romantic satisfaction between them two. As I was saying, I'm going to perform this interaction with all of our current couples in the villa and then split them up. And for funsies, I'm going to have the girls head over to a different villa and the guys are going to stay here. We are now with the girls in Casa Amor. Oh. Oh, she made her move immediately. Sure. So we are at the girls in Casa Amor to show off the features that come with the Casa Amor Islanders. Now these are going to work very similarly to the Bombshell Islanders. So when I have him click on our Islander and go to the Woohoo Island pie menu, and here we're going to see many interactions that only Casa Amor Islanders can perform with the regular Islanders. I'm trying so hard to stay focused right now. She just moved so quickly. I just wasn't prepared for her to not give a damn about Tobias. I mean, this is a lie, clearly. But this is going to work very similarly to the Bombshells, and I had the same mindset when creating them. So here we have a couple of the common things that the Casa Amor Islanders say. So you can remind us to put themselves first, imply the grass is greener, convince they don't need their other connection, ask to share a bed. So similar to the Bombshells, your Casa Amor Islanders also have the opportunity to perform custom interactive, what did I call that? What did I call it? interactive interactions autonomously that we cannot use or control. So there's also going to be a chance of experiencing that while we're here. We are back in the main villa for the boys' Casa Amor experience, and we're gonna pretend that they've been here for a couple days, and it is now the last day in Casa Amor. Now it is time for the final recoupling ceremony, and this is going to be where your Sims decide whether or not they would like to bring their Casa connection back to the villa with them, or keep them here in the villa when the girls return. And in order to do this, you need to throw a social event. So this is the event we're looking for down here, which is the final Casa Amor ceremony. And when I press next, I'll have the opportunity to select all of my Islanders and all of my Casa Amor girls as well. Again, this mod supports up to 20 Sims, and then I'm going to have the event just start right now. So I had to wait until the next day because you can't throw events on Brawling Day, or it was some type of random holiday in the game, so it wasn't letting me. But now we are officially here. It is our last day of Casa Amor, and I'm going to show you how to do the last recoupling ceremony before everyone reunites again. So during this event, Islanders will be able to bring home any Casa Amor Islander who they are currently coupled up with. So recoupling is also enabled during this event as well. You'll see here if I try to make the final decision, it's going to tell me I can't do this because the Sims currently have to be in a couple, but recoupling is now enabled for the event automatically, so you can change couples as you would like to. So these two Sims here are actually in a couple, and I'm going to use them as my example for what to do in this event. If we make our way to the Woohoo Island Pie menu, we'll now find the new one I just mentioned before, which is Final Casa Amor Ceremony. And while we're here, this is where we'll have the options to make those important decisions. So we can either decide to stay loyal, so after performing this interaction, Islanders will not be able to take any Casa Amor Islanders back to the villa with them. They are deciding to leave alone. And then we have this option here to create a chosen Casa couple. It says after performing this interaction, Islanders will not be able to take another Casa Amor Islander to bring back nor change their mind and stay loyal. So once you make this decision, you've made this decision. And you'll see that this is also a one-sided interaction, so your Casa Amor Islanders will not be able to perform this on the Islanders. The Islanders themselves will have to perform this interaction, and this is not an interaction they could do autonomously neither. It is only user directed. So if you would like for it to be up in the air, you can go with the let fate decide option, but I'm going to decide to have them create their chosen Casa couple.
Susu.
Dag dag.
So as we can see, Vincent decided to create his chosen Casa couple with this Sim Michelle here, and it went well. After performing the interaction, you'll also notice that we are now at 1 out of 4 instead of 0 out of 4 for this interaction. So you need to do this in both villas for every single Islander before they leave Casa Amor. One thing you'll see is that after performing this interaction, they now both have the leaving together buff, and it says Vincent has decided to leave Casa Amor hand in hand with a new connection, and he couldn't be happier. And then they also have a new relationship label for each other as well that says chosen Casa couple. If your Sims should decide to stay loyal, they will instead get a respective buff that says that they stayed loyal, and they'll also cut their relationship off with the Casa Amor Islander that they had been talking to while they were away. So whether you're going to decide to bring all of the Casa Amor Islanders back, none of them, or leave it for fate to decide for all of your couples, is going to be completely up to you what you decide and how you want to play your game. So we are here at one of the most exciting moments of Love Island in this show, and that is the reunion. That is when people who are in Casa Amor now reunite to see who they brought back from their respective villas, and I tried my best to replicate this in the show, and I'm really excited for how it turned out, and I can't wait to show you guys. So before leaving for the villa, Mariah was coupled up with Vincent, who is standing right here. Vincent decided to keep his Casa connection that he had formed right here. Her name was Michelle. And Mariah decided to come back alone. So I'll have her go ahead and enter into the villa now. She's in the back. But I'm gonna have her walk to the front and see exactly what decision Vincent made while she was gone. Okay, I would do a little cinematic thing, but I don't know how to do it and properly catch the reactions for it. So for this one, we're just gonna have to see as she walks up. So you can see what went ahead and happened there at the reunion. Their relationship actually went pretty far down, as you can see right here. It pretty much tanked their feelings towards each other, but they're actually still holding on. So you'll see they got these different sentiments. So Mariah got the fear of losing them sentiment, and Vincent got the love affair sentiment. So he's feeling pretty guilty, and she's feeling sad about the, what happened between them. But somehow their deeply connected sentiment is holding on. So she might still try and fight for that man. Who knows? We'll have to see. And then we'll also notice here that this buff that Mariah gets as well when in the presence of a Casa Amor Islander, and she gets the little competition buff. And it says Mariah isn't thrilled at the sight of a Casa Amor Islander now in the main villa and is more than happy to keep some distance. One thing I also added in was a natural tension, better word, that Casa Amor Islanders and the original, girl Islanders have between each other, and this is going to work the same for the boys as well. So if you notice in your game their relationship dropping a little faster than usual, that is why. So I'm gonna have everyone just go ahead and take a seat again. All of the different couples are going to react differently when they make this reunion depending on the coupling type they had when they left. So the game does remember all of the things that they had before, and it takes that into consideration during this reunion moment. Now, I'm not going to show you guys any of the other reactions that your Sims can go ahead and have to this reunion, because I'm going to leave it for you guys to go ahead and play and figure out. But when you do this moment in your game, I definitely recommend doing it like this, setting up like it does in the show, so you can see each of the reactions one at a time. If you do it all together, it does work. It's just a bit overwhelming. So it's more cinematic, more fun, but also less overwhelming if you just go ahead and do it one at a time. One thing I also want to make sure that I mention is that it is important that you do these reunions while your Sims still have the leaving together buff or the stay loyal buff, as this will let the game know that this is their first time seeing each other after making those decisions. So the buff lasts for 2 days after you make the interaction, so you have that long to have your Sims reconnect. We have gone over how to set up your villa, how to do challenges, introduce bombshells, the public voting system, recoupling and coupling types, the cheats, how to dump your islanders, how to set up Casa Amor, how to leave Casa Amor, how to return from Casa Amor, and finally, we are here.
Yes.
How to perform the finale, how to do the very last day here on Woohoo Island. When you're ready to have your Sims do their season finale or their last day on Woohoo Island, you're going to make your way to our calendar again to set up that holiday tradition. This time we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to find this interaction right here, which is the Woohoo Island finale. And it says it is officially the last day on Woohoo Island, and it's time to answer some questions. Just how genuine were the connections made this summer? Which couple will be crowned the winners? And most importantly, who will be taking home the 1 million simoleons? I felt like the 100,000 was just not enough for the Sims, so we upped the stakes. They're taking home 1 million simoleons. So now we have that marked on our calendar to happen tomorrow. And the day before the holiday, all the Sims will get this buff down here. That is a fine buff that says enjoy the present. At this point, there's nothing Dawn can do to change the decisions of the past, and there's not much time to change the minds of tomorrow. Oh, that's not what it says. All that's left to do is sit back and enjoy the present time left in the villa. So everyone will be currently feeling fine. And I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow where we can celebrate the last day on the island. So it is a new day and officially the Woohoo Island finale, the last day in the villa. And we're going to see this holiday tradition up here that we went ahead and selected before. Everyone is going to love the holiday tradition because everyone wants to win, but there can only be 2 winners. So the winners of my Love Island Villa are going to be the 2 that's... Why are y'all all standing? Because she did a little like heel click? Are we serious right now? So I got everyone to sit back down and I brought the controller back over here because surprise, surprise, we need that in order to... I just confused my black man. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't think all black people look the same, I promise. I am black. So as I was saying, we need to use a controller to select our winner. And on the last day, on this day of the tradition, we'll see a new pie menu pop up, which is the Woohoo Island finale. And here you can buy some fireworks in order to celebrate, but you can also select the winning couple. I'm going to purchase some fireworks as well because I want them to launch them. You'll see. We technically don't need them, but someone's gonna launch these damn fireworks. Oh, but it's daytime. You know, when you get your hands on it, you go ahead and you do this at night and you launch some fireworks for me. You do it in the dead of night so they're so pretty in the sky. I'm not waiting. So now I want my Sims to go ahead and select them to be the winners, but I've seen how this interaction works, so I would recommend that you guys definitely go ahead and set up your kiss first. You set up your kiss interaction like I'm going to do now. I'm gonna have them... They're gonna do... I think I did passionate makeout before. We're gonna do passionate makeout, forget it. They're gonna do a passionate makeout, okay? This tree is blocking my lighting. Where is it? Now, I don't know what this animation looks like, but we're gonna set up a generic little pan to the left or the right, and we're gonna pray. Ooh, okay. Hopefully that's the one. So when you're ready, you have your kiss lined up for your Sims. You're gonna click on that controller and you're gonna select to pick the winning couple, and then you're gonna pick both of them. So I'm gonna choose my 2 Sims here when I select the winning couple.
Fanaya. Walake. Nuya. Walake. Dunda.
So, Lord, damn, son.
Why was that kind of beautiful? Not the Sims working with me. Oh my, that was kind of like, that was kind of tea. Like, ooh. Me hooting and hollering like it's not 4 in the morning. Anyway, so you'll see everyone is going to start cheering for them in their own Sims way at the wall, but we're not going to worry about that. So a couple things automatically happened there, and this is again going to depend on if you have these packs, then it's going to be an impact. If you don't have these packs, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. But both of our Sims have this new milestone in their memories now that says that they won Woohoo Island. So it says Marielle experienced this once in a lifetime opportunity to go on Woohoo Island and actually won in her couple. So that's really sweet that they both did that. And then also, if you have Get Famous, your Sims are now going to both become B-listers, and then they'll have their, fame points to go ahead and spend in that as well. And then they'll both have these energized buffs that are plus 100 in the last 2 days. And it says one Woohoo Island from winning Woohoo Island thanks to the I'll make a note of it. I'll fix it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. Thanks to the cow plant though. But anyway, they both got the buff that says that they won Woohoo Island. But that is not where the show ends, as we know. Oh my gosh, this would have been cute. Look at the people actually looking at them. That's so cute, and cheering and clapping. That's gonna last a while. Just to give you a heads up there. But as we know, the show is not over yet, because while they got the kiss, they actually both got a text. They got a text, and when they both clicked it, you'll get this message up here that says one more thing. As you may know, although we have chosen a couple to win, there is one more question our Islanders must answer. Who gets the money? On the Woohoo Island settings controller, one chosen member of the winning couple may perform the Give Decision Power interaction. Performing this interaction will give the acting sim half of the 1 million simoleons. They then must talk to their partner to decide whether they want to share it or take it all for themselves. So as the notification said, we need to decide who is going to get the decision power to see whether they're going to share or split the money. And I've left this completely up to you. Okay, I feel like I've done so much work for you thus far in the mod. If you want to randomize it, put it on a damn wheel at this point. I don't know. You decide. So when I click on the controller, I'll now have the option to give her the decision power. And you'll see that only my two Sims in the winning couple can get the decision power. No one else. It won't even pop up for them. But I'm going to give it to Marielle. It's going to give it to your acting sim. So I'm going to give it to her. And she is going to get the decision making power here, as we see. And I'm gonna have them, I don't know, reveal deep secret or whatever. When that happens, your sim is going to get this buff. They're gonna get a tense buff, right? And it says decision making power. It has come time for Marielle to make an important decision, to share the prize money or keep it all for herself. And you'll see here that when your sim realizes that, the other half of their couple has gotten the decision making power, they will he said, what about me, baby? Baby, don't forget about me. Pick me. Let me kiss up on your neck, girl. Let me kiss up on your neck, because I want this money. Ooh, can you tell it's late? Can you tell? As I was saying, when your sim realizes that the other half of the couple has the decision-making power, they will get this buff right here that says no power, and they'll be scared. It says there is no greater fear than being at a crossroads of what can happen in your life and having absolutely zero control over it. Oh my gosh, he really wants this money. He wants it so bad. He should have asked her out on a date. This ain't happened this entire time they've been on this damn island, and now he wants to ask her on a date. Oh my gosh, I'm having like a great time. And then they got a buff. I mean, they got a sentiment just now as well. He really trying to butter her up for real. I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be on my knees, low-key. Anyway, so she needs to make a decision, and she needs to make it now. Also, you'll see that they both got their holiday tradition checked off for the Woohoo Island finale. No one else, because they didn't win. But you'll see here, if I click on them now, we'll have a new pie menu pop up. Take a shot every time I said new pie menu in this damn video. But we have a new pie menu, and it says finale decision. And when we click on it, we have 3 options available. We can take all the money, let fate decide, or split the money. I'll read everything. It says performing this interaction will not only tank this couple's relationship, but this sim's reputation as well. On the bright side, they will be million simoleons richer. If you split money, it says performing this interaction will serve to greatly improve these Sims' relationship with one another and their reputation. While this Sim will be missing out on 500,000 simoleons, they won't be sacrificing the connection they made in the villa. And then we also have the infamous let fate decide interaction. And as the name suggests, it's going to let fate decide on whether she split the money or took all of it. But before we go ahead and make that decision, I'm going to show you that because she got the decision making power, she already got half of the prize money. And that's what you see right here. This is 500k simoleons. As I hover over it, oh, I took off headline effects. I'm not turning it back on. But if I hovered over it, it would show me this, and it says Woohoo Island prize money. So she got money now. Okay, and I know it says, you know, this is one simoleon, but if you go ahead and click on it, you're gonna see the option to collect your prize money, and you're gonna collect 500,000. I did it this way because, you know, you don't need to be sharing your money with the rest of the household. This is her money. This isn't our money. These are brokies. But it's now time for her to make her very, very important decision. And I'm going to do the same exact camera pan to go ahead and do it. I'm going to have her go ahead and choose the let fate decide interaction to see what she does. Okay, we literally have lights. Okay. Camera. Okay. Action.
Boom. Ah, Fibna, Fina, Fancy Jongi. Ah, Wanu.
Goodness gracious. I told you didn't need fireworks, but we have them anyway. Oh my gosh. It's so fantastic. Like, I've only done this in playtesting, so the fact that we actually got to the finale and I'm getting a chance to see all of this is so cool. And look at everyone down there. Oh my gosh. This is, it feels like like this is everything I ever wanted. It feels like a finale. It actually, like, it feels real. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Oh my god. I made this. I made this. Oh, like literally, they're still going. It's hard to, my amazement doesn't last this long. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, they're still they're still going. Oh my gosh, guys. I was able to capture this very, very beautiful screenshot of Marielle, my muscle mommy, standing right here at the end of the show and also close to the end of this video. But I would like to take these last moments over here to give you guys more details about the mod, like the boring stuff. I'm not even gonna lie, like the details, you know, but also provide thanks to every single person that provided, okay, the emotional support I really needed to go ahead and finish this mod, and the playtester support as well. Of course, a big shout out to New, who is my very, very first playtester and one of my bigger inspirations for creating this mod in general. Ew, I don't want to get gross, but it's literally 5 in the morning and it's like day 3 of my period. Sorry. Creating this mod really, it really pushed me to like branch out and like talk to people. Um, like, okay, how do I say this? I was a very late bloomer when it came to socializing with people. I didn't talk to people for a long time past when children are typically supposed to. And I feel like that has made me a really socially stunted individual as an adult. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But this mod has like encouraged me to talk to people. Oh my gosh. I'd like talk to people while making this mod. I asked people for help that were like feedback and suggestions for people who are not my immediate family. And that's a big deal for me. So this mod has literally meant so it's wait, forget Love Island. This is me in this mod at this point, and I've had so much fun, but it's time to get serious, okay? So details about this mod. I have a list so I didn't forget anything. So if you hadn't heard it already, this mod is going to support anywhere from 2 to 20 sims on your Recouple Island villa. If you have more than 20 sims, you may get away with some stuff, but I'm not taking responsibility for anything you can't get away with more than 20 sims. Also, again, you need to have your fears and wants system enabled for this mod to function. This mod is also intended for your young adult sims as well, as I don't believe it's consistently supported for. Can you not do that right now? If I'm being honest, I'm not really sure about occults either. I think you might be able to get away with occults. Also, this mod is base game compatible. It does have certain features where it takes into consideration different details from different packs in DLC, or like we saw earlier, the winners had an increase in fame, but you don't need those packs for those things to function. And if you don't have those packs, you won't notice anything's missing. You'll be fine. As for how this mod is going to roll out, it's going to roll out a bit differently than all of my other mods because, I've done a lot more work for this than all of my other mods. And also, I'm in the middle of revamping my membership tiers over on Patreon. So as I previously said, this mod is going to roll out differently than the other ones. And it is not going to go through the typical going down a tier, like 1 week at tier 3, 1 week at tier 2, and 1 week at tier 1. Instead, she's going to spend 3 weeks at tier 3. If you are currently a tier 3 member, you will have access to her because this will be the last thing I will be making available for my current tier 3s because I'm going to be closing it and redoing my tiers. And for those of you who are not currently a tier 3 member, it will be available as a paid post for those 3 weeks as well. Or you can join my new highest tier, and that's going to also give you access to it at a discounted price in comparison to the paid post. If that didn't make sense, I will have it in writing in a post over on my Patreon really soon, the day that this video posts. I would say at the same time, but I really would like to sleep. I really would prefer to get some sleep right now. But I will also be writing a post about what's going to be happening to my other tiers. Patreon is tweaking right now, so I'm going to have to jump through some hoops. But either way, I know this was a really long video, so thank you so much for making it to the end, for staying for the details, because if you ask them in the comments, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the patience to go ahead and answer them. I'm getting rude because it's very late in the morning. But this was cool. This was such a spectacular experience. I don't want to say goodbye yet. I kind of want to sit in this joy for a little longer, you know? I don't know. And you see what I did there with a little cliffhanger? I know, I was planning it since the very beginning. And then about the confetti, don't worry. If you go through a loading screen and come back, it's going to stop. I promise. You'll be fine. But look how pretty it is when it stays here.